Hello, we're the Free Coders. My name is James Lechinger.
My name is Julia Tanko.
And I'm Robert Lowe.
And we chose to do the audio sampler project.
We really enjoy doing this project and we hope you all enjoy our content.
Okay guys, welcome to the Free Coders Sampler GUI. I'll take you guys through the load samples and the play buttons. So as you can see, we have a 4x3 layout of the buttons, and you click on load sample to load in a song file. So let's just choose this file, and I hit the play button, and as you can see, it plays a sound file and it graphs the matrix. And let's just choose load sample in slot 6. And there you go, we have a different sound. And 11. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so now that we have loaded the samples into the respective buttons, I'm going to start to go over the effects. So the first effect is speed. It will slow down the sample to a quarter of its normal speed, or up to 1.7 times its normal speed. So if we slow down this first sample, we can see that it plays a lot slower, and it will play all the way down to a quarter speed. And then it can also play all the way up to 1.7 times its speed. And to reset the speed back to normal, just hit the reset button, and that will play it back at its normal speed again. The next effect is delay. This will add sort of an echo up to a full second after the sample, after the beginning is played. So you can sort of start to hear that. And you can see that kind of adds a pulsing tone to it when you add an entire second. The next effect is tone. That will just basically filter out either the highs or lows of the sample. So if we move the slider to the right, it will have only the higher frequencies. And then if you move it down, it will have only the lower frequencies. And this too can be reset, and then it will play back at its normal tone. Next we have the fade in. This will add up to 10 seconds of not as loud of a tone. So if you start at like just 1 second, it will play softer for a second, and then slowly rise in pitch until it reaches the same loudness that it was normally. And then if you extend it longer, then it will take longer to get louder. It's also worth noting that if your sample isn't 10 seconds long, then it will simply cut the fade in to the sample length. See, in that case, it will slowly get louder throughout the sample. Fade out acts in a very similar manner, but it only acts at the end of the sample, and then it will slowly get quieter. Next, sample reversal. We'll just simply flip the array for music, and it will play from the end and then to the beginning. Voice removal will remove the majority of a voice from a song, but for instruments that's not going to do much. And then finally, dank is a homemade button that just adds a very strange effect that you can't really get anywhere else. This works by actually multiplying the sample by an earlier sample, and so it results in most of the tones being played only above in a positive frequency, and it actually makes it sound pretty interesting. So in order to edit different samples, we have this sample number thing over here. So if I add a certain number of effects to the first sample, like this, when I switch to a different sample number that I want to change, for example sample 6, then these sliders will all get reset, and then when I play sample 6, it'll play normally again. And then I can add my own effects to sample 6, like this. And then when I go back to sample 1, it will still have all the same changes for sample 1. Okay, so now we're starting back with a blank template, and we can try an error checking thing that we added in. So when you press a button without anything loaded, it should just give you an error, just like that. And now we're going to load in a longer sample into button 12. So I'm going to load a full-length song, and you'll notice when I hit sample number 12, it will show us the actual length of the song, and then it should play the entire song. And then I can just hit stop to make it stop part of the way through. So now I can show the chopping effects. So if I set the song to from point 2 to point 3, it will actually play a little bit under 10 seconds. It'll go from 20 hundredths of a minute to 30 hundredths of a minute in the song.
Hey, where did we go?
And you also see that in the graph it will reflect only that part of the song. So this is a good opportunity to try out the voice removal. And you'll notice that the voices sound a lot quieter than they used to. And then you can also try adding every single effect. I'll just do this just to show that it works, but you wouldn't normally want to do this. And yes, it sounds terrible. Okay, so a few other things. You can actually add samples onto each other by playing them at the same time. So I'm going to load Van Morrison into a different button so it won't have all the distortion. And then I'll load another sample into sample 1 again. And you'll notice I can play sample 11 and sample 1 at the same time. It'll stop all the samples from playing. Another feature that we added is error checking for the start and stop times. So we have Van Morrison loaded on sample 12 here. Sorry, sample 11. And you'll notice if we try and set the start time to something that is invalid, like -5, it'll revert to its previous value. So I can set it to something like 0.2, and it'll play from that point. And then if I set something negative, it'll go back to the same value and play normally like that.
So next we're going to be talking about the tone generator. So this allows the user to load in a tone to the corresponding sample number that's chosen in this button group. So see, we have sample 11 selected. So this frequency text box allows the user to edit the frequency. So let's change this to 440. There we go. This drop-down menu right here allows the user to change the waveform type. So let's change this to a square wave. And I will be loading the tone into 11. And see, these start and stop times correspond to the tone that we loaded in. So let's play this tone. And as you can see, the square wave generated a square wave. It fills the whole box because it is a square wave. Let's try a sine wave. Load that in. There we go. And we also have a triangle wave or sawtooth wave. And let's play that. Okay. Also, we have this audio cue. So this audio cue allows the user to select whichever sample they want to play in a cue. It will play the samples in the order that corresponds to numbers. So say you choose 1, 3, and 5. And it will play in the order 1, 3, 5. So let's play that. Oh, actually, we need to load in samples first. So say... let's do this. 3... and 5. Now let's play them in the queue.